Your future spouse has sent you a beautiful heartfelt message. My beloved child, stop for a moment and listen closely, because there is a reason these words found you today, and the reason may be far more meaningful than you realize. Something happened last night, something connected to the story of your future, something that may have quietly shifted a situation you cannot see yet. Do not skip this message. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you, and the most important part has not been revealed yet. You may have been wondering why your heart has felt strangely restless lately, why certain thoughts keep returning when you least expect them, or why the idea of meeting someone special suddenly feels more real than it did before. There are moments in life when nothing appears to change on the outside, yet everything begins changing behind the scenes. This is one of those moments. Last night carried an emotional turning point, and although you may not know the details yet, the person connected to your future may have experienced a powerful realization. Perhaps they were lying awake, thinking about the kind of love they truly want. Perhaps a memory, a conversation, a dream, or even a simple moment of silence made them realize that they cannot continue pretending their heart has no questions. Something inside them began asking, "Where is the person I am meant to build my life with?" And the surprising part is that the answer may already be moving closer to you. Do not scroll away now. Stay till the end, because this message is building towards something much deeper. There is a reason the timing feels unusual. There is a reason your attention was captured by these words. Your future spouse may not know your name yet, may not have met you yet, or may already be somewhere within the wider circle of your life without either of you understanding the significance of that connection. But last night may have brought them one step closer to recognizing what they truly desire. Imagine someone sitting quietly after a long day, suddenly realizing that achievements, attention, distractions, and temporary connections cannot replace genuine companionship. Imagine them looking at their life and understanding that the next chapter cannot be built on the same choices that created the previous one. That realization can change everything. And perhaps, without knowing it, you are also entering the same chapter. You may have noticed old attachments losing their power. You may have started wanting peace instead of confusion, honesty instead of mixed signals, stability instead of emotional games. Those changes are not meaningless. Sometimes your life prepares you for a person before it introduces that person. The preparation happens internally first. Your standards change. Your patience changes. Your understanding of love changes. And then, when the right connection appears, you recognize it because you have become someone who can finally receive it. Something huge is waiting for you, so don't skip. Stay till the end, because the message becomes even more personal from here. There is something your future spouse would want you to understand before your paths fully cross. They may have spent longer searching than you think. They may have experienced disappointment. They may have trusted the wrong people. They may have wondered whether lasting love was even possible. Yet somewhere inside them, the hope never completely disappeared. Last night may have awakened that hope again. And that is why this moment matters. You are not simply listening to a romantic story. You are listening to a possibility that begins with two people becoming ready at the same time. Pause right here, because the next part carries a detail you should not overlook. There is a difference between someone wanting a relationship and someone becoming emotionally prepared for a life-changing relationship. Your future spouse may have crossed that second threshold recently. Something may have happened that forced them to look honestly at their own heart. Maybe they saw another couple sharing a peaceful moment and felt a sudden longing for that kind of connection. Maybe someone asked them a simple question about marriage, commitment, or the future, and the question stayed in their mind long after the conversation ended. Maybe they had a dream that left an unusually strong emotional impression. Or perhaps nothing dramatic happened at all. Sometimes the biggest changes begin with one quiet thought that refuses to disappear. Last night could have been that kind of night. A night when they realize that the person they eventually choose cannot simply be attractive, impressive, or exciting. That person must feel like peace. That person must be someone they can trust when life becomes difficult. Someone whose presence does not require performance. Someone with whom silence feels comfortable. Someone who does not make them question their worth. And if you have been through seasons where you felt overlooked, misunderstood, or delayed, this is the part you need to hear. Delay does not automatically mean denial. Sometimes the time before a meaningful relationship is not empty time. It is preparation time. You are learning what you will never accept again. You are becoming more confident about what you need. You are healing from experiences that once controlled your expectations. Your future spouse may be going through a parallel process. They may be learning the same lessons from a completely different direction. That is why the connection can feel almost impossible to explain when it finally arrives. Two separate stories can suddenly make sense when they meet at the right chapter. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and there is a reason this message keeps returning to last night. The night represents more than darkness. It represents everything that happens before something becomes visible. Before sunrise, the world can look unchanged. Then suddenly, light appears. Nothing needed to be rebuilt in that exact second, the light simply revealed what had already been there. Your future relationship may work in a similar way. The connection may already be forming through circumstances, decisions, introductions, changes in location, changes in priorities, or unexpected conversations. You cannot see the entire picture yet. That does not mean the picture is not being created. Your future spouse may also be wondering why certain people have recently entered or exited their life. They may be questioning why an old pattern no longer satisfies them. They may feel that something new is approaching without being able to name it. That feeling can be unsettling because the heart often senses change before the mind can explain it. And perhaps you have felt that too. Maybe you have suddenly become less interested in chasing people who do not choose you. Maybe you have started protecting your peace. Maybe you have stopped forcing conversations. Maybe you have realized that love should not feel like a constant test. These are powerful signs of emotional maturity. When two people reach that maturity, the possibility of a healthier connection becomes much stronger. Your future spouse may not arrive with a dramatic entrance. They may arrive through something ordinary, a message, a meeting, an introduction, a shared environment, a work connection, a family connection, a mutual friend, or a completely unexpected moment. But what makes the moment extraordinary will not necessarily be the circumstances. It will be the feeling of recognition. Not a fantasy. Not instant certainty. Rather, a quiet sense that something about this person deserves your attention. So don't scroll. Stay till the end. The revelation is not about chasing a mysterious person. It is about understanding what may be changing inside both of you before the meeting becomes real. There is another layer to what happened last night, and this is where the story becomes more emotional. Your future spouse may have realized that they are tired of temporary connections. They may have reached a point where surface-level attention no longer feels satisfying. They may have asked themselves why certain relationships never became what they hoped they would become. They may have looked back at moments where they ignored warning signs, accepted less than they deserved, or stayed silent when they should have spoken honestly. That reflection can be painful, but it can also become a turning point. Sometimes a person becomes ready for genuine love only after realizing what false love costs. And perhaps last night was the night when your future spouse finally understood that difference. Imagine the emotional weight of realizing that the person you need is not someone who simply makes your heart race, but someone who makes your life feel more grounded. Someone who can celebrate your victories without competing with you. Someone who can listen without immediately trying to control the conversation. Someone who understands that commitment is not about perfection. It is about choosing each other repeatedly through ordinary days. This may be the kind of love your future spouse is beginning to desire. And if you have been waiting, you need to understand something important. You do not have to become someone else to deserve it. You do not have to perform. You do not have to chase. You do not have to convince someone to see your value. The right relationship should have room for your authentic self. The person coming into your life should be able to appreciate your strength and your softness, your ambition and your quiet moments, your dreams and your imperfections. Something huge is waiting for you, but don't skip this part, because the biggest surprise may be that the future relationship will not necessarily look like the relationship you once imagined. You may have a picture in your mind of the perfect person, yet life may introduce someone whose qualities are more meaningful than the image you created. They may have a different personality than expected. Their story may be different. Their timing may be unexpected. Their way of expressing affection may not match what you previously imagined. But the emotional foundation may be exactly what you needed. Last night may have reminded them of this truth too. Perhaps they finally stopped asking, "What kind of person looks perfect beside me?" and started asking, "What kind of person can I build something real with?" That is a profound shift. It changes attraction into intention. It changes excitement into responsibility. It changes fantasy into partnership. And when two people approach love with that mindset, the relationship can become something much more lasting. Stay till the end. Don't skip. The next revelation may explain why the timing of your future connection feels so unusual. There may be a period of preparation before the meeting itself, and during that period, both people can experience strange coincidences, unexpected introductions, changes in routine, or sudden decisions that eventually create a path toward one another. None of this requires you to force anything. Your role is simply to keep living, growing, and remaining open to healthy possibilities. Your future spouse has their own journey too. They have choices to make. They have lessons to learn. And somewhere within that journey, they may have begun making a choice that brings them closer to the kind of life where meeting you becomes possible. Now listen carefully, because there is a sentence your future spouse may never have said aloud yet, but it captures the emotional shift that may have happened last night. I don't want something temporary anymore. Think about how powerful that sentence is. It means the person is no longer searching simply for attention. They are searching for belonging. They are no longer asking who can impress them for a moment. They are asking who can stand beside them when life becomes ordinary. They are no longer fascinated by endless possibilities. They are beginning to value one meaningful possibility. And that is exactly where a future marriage begins, not with a perfect first meeting, but with two people eventually deciding that they want to build something real. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and the emotional message becomes stronger from this point forward. There may have been a time when your future spouse believed they had plenty of time. They may have thought love could wait. They may have focused on career, responsibilities, personal goals, family expectations, or simply surviving one season at a time. But people sometimes reach a quiet moment when they realize that life is not only about achieving things alone. They begin imagining who they want beside them when they celebrate good news. Who they want beside them when they are exhausted. Who they want to call when something wonderful happens. Who they want sitting across the table during an ordinary evening. That is when the idea of a future spouse stops being an abstract concept and becomes an emotional need for genuine companionship. Last night may have brought that realization closer. Maybe they looked at their life and felt that one place was still empty. Not because they are incomplete without someone, but because they are finally ready to share what they have built with someone worthy of receiving it. That distinction matters. Healthy love does not complete a person who is broken. Healthy love brings two whole people together so they can create something stronger than either could create alone. Perhaps you are also reaching that point. Maybe you no longer want someone to rescue you. Maybe you want someone who respects you. Maybe you no longer want constant excitement. Maybe you want consistency. Maybe you no longer want promises that sound beautiful but disappear when life becomes difficult. Maybe you want actions that quietly prove what words claim. If that describes you, then understand why the connection between your journey and your future spouse's journey could become so powerful. Both of you may be learning the same lesson: real love is not loud every second. Real love is dependable. It is patient. It communicates. It respects boundaries. It keeps its promises. It knows how to apologize and how to forgive without losing self-respect. And when that kind of relationship arrives, it may feel surprisingly calm compared with the emotional chaos you once mistook for passion. That calm should not be mistaken for boredom. Sometimes peace feels unfamiliar simply because you have spent too much time around uncertainty. Your future spouse may be learning this too. Last night may have been the moment they decided that peace is not something to run from. It is something to protect. Don't skip. Stay till the end. The story has not reached its most important point yet. Something huge is waiting for you, and the next part of this message is about the possibility that your future spouse is already making room for you without even knowing exactly who you are. Think about the strange ways life rearranges itself. One decision changes a schedule. One invitation creates a meeting. One conversation introduces two people. One move changes an entire social circle. One unexpected opportunity puts someone in a place they never planned to visit. These small events can eventually create enormous consequences. Your future spouse may currently be making a decision that appears unrelated to love. They may be changing jobs, joining a new community, accepting an invitation, reconnecting with someone, traveling somewhere, learning something new, or simply choosing to step outside an old routine. You may be doing something similar. And neither of you may realize that these ordinary choices are creating the conditions for an extraordinary meeting. That is why you should not become obsessed with identifying a person before the time is right. The purpose of this message is not to make you chase signs or force a relationship. It is to remind you that your future can contain surprises you cannot currently see. Stay till the end. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you, and there is more to understand about what happened last night. Your future spouse may have experienced an emotional conversation, a quiet realization, or a moment of clarity that made them reconsider what they truly want. Maybe they finally admitted to themselves that they deserve a relationship where communication is mutual. Maybe they realized that they have been emotionally unavailable. Maybe they recognize that fear has been controlling their decisions. Maybe they decided that when someone genuine enters their life, they will not run simply because vulnerability feels uncomfortable. That decision could be one of the most important things that ever happens before two people meet. Because timing is not only about location and circumstance. Timing is also about readiness. Imagine meeting the right person at the wrong emotional stage. Even a beautiful connection can fail if one person is still trapped in an old chapter. But imagine meeting when both people have learned enough to recognize what they have. Suddenly, ordinary moments become meaningful. A conversation can last longer than expected. A glance can remain in your memory. A simple act of kindness can reveal character. You begin noticing not only how attractive someone is, but how they treat people when no one is watching. You notice whether they keep their word. You notice how they handle disagreement. You notice whether they respect your independence. These are the things that create a lasting bond. And your future spouse may be thinking about exactly these qualities right now. Perhaps they are no longer impressed by appearances alone. Perhaps they want someone emotionally intelligent, loyal, compassionate, ambitious, honest, and grounded. Perhaps they want someone who can laugh with them but also sit quietly beside them when words are unnecessary. Perhaps they want a relationship where both people can grow without trying to control each other. If so, your preparation matters too. Keep becoming the person you would want to meet. Keep strengthening your character. Keep building your life. Keep your heart open without abandoning your standards. Because when the moment arrives, you want to recognize the difference between attention and genuine intention. Something huge is waiting for you, so stay till the end. Do not scroll away just because the answer has not been given yet. The suspense exists because the most meaningful changes often happen before the evidence becomes visible. Last night may have been one invisible turning point. The next visible one may be much closer than you think. There is a reason the phrase "something happened last night" feels so powerful. Night is when distractions become quieter. People stop performing for the world. They sit with thoughts they avoided during the day. They remember conversations. They replay choices. They imagine the future. They ask themselves questions they were too busy to face before. Your future spouse may have had one of those nights. Perhaps they thought about the person they want to become. Perhaps they realized they cannot carry old disappointments into a new relationship. Perhaps they remembered someone from their past and finally understood why that chapter had to end. Perhaps they recognized that the next person they allow into their heart must be treated differently. And maybe the most surprising revelation is this: they may have realized that they are actually ready to love again. That is not a small realization. It can change a person's behavior, priorities, and expectations. It can make them more willing to accept invitations, meet new people, communicate honestly, and stop hiding behind excuses.